France has long prided itself on its staunchly secular institutions, but secular France is increasingly having to re-evaluate its approach to religion. There are questions over why many young French Muslims are identifying so strongly with groups like ISIL. In October 2015, some 1,770 French citizens were either inside Syria or Iraq, on their way there or returning home. That's higher than any other European country. Last year, ISIL sympathizers took their fight to the streets of Paris, carrying out the bloodiest attacks on France in decades. Observers quickly noted a common factor. Many of the killers appear to have developed their hardline views while in prison. That's thrown the spotlight on a trial program being tested in 5 prisons. Lawmakers are paying closer attention to the place of religion in jails.
It's important because it's the first prison to have areas reserved for radicalized detainees. That's been the starting point for the other prisons that have also introduced this type of area.
Françoise Descamps-Crozenier is visiting Fresnes to assess how successful the trial has been so far. There are 42 prisoners who've been identified as radical according to the authorities in this prison and kept away from other inmates. But it's getting mixed reviews, including from fellow prisoners.
So you don't think it's a good idea?
No, we are all human beings after all.
And the Prison Officers Union says the government needs to provide more money and staff for any program to work. The plan, they say, could even be counterproductive.
The fact that we are grouping them together and allowing them to be together, I find that actually quite dangerous. What needs to be understood is that Fresnes is a prison for those awaiting trial, so once they've been sentenced, they'll be sent out to other prisons.
For others, the real issue is a lack of positive religious influences in prison. Yunus Warak began dedicating his time to offering religious guidance to Muslim inmates after becoming convinced they were suffering from a lack of imams. There are only 200 imams working in French prisons, and because they aren't considered full-time public employees, most visit the prisons for just a few hours a week. That's despite the fact that an estimated 70% of France's prison population is Muslim.
We have a situation where inmates are left to their own devices, and when if there is no imam available, either because he's not there much or because there isn't one in the prison, they will instead rely on other inmates who very often have very fundamentalist understanding of Islam.
Many are watching to see whether programs like the one in Fresnes will have any impact. But with the rise of the far right in France, policies that encouraged a more nuanced approach are likely to struggle for funding, whatever their benefits. Yasmin Ryan, Al Jazeera.